Evening, everyone. Good evening, everyone. So, I'm Dennis Hanno. I'm the president of Wheaton College, and I'm really pleased to welcome you tonight. I think it's okay to start because Dee Dee is here, right? To kick things off, I just want to be the first to offer congratulations to all of the new inductees into our Hall of Fame. This is my second time at this event, and it's just amazing to see the success that's being honored here tonight and has been honored in the past by our Hall of Fame members. When I think about the importance of athletics on a college campus, and I look out at a group like this and read the accomplishments of the people who are inducted tonight, it reminds me that athletics is not a nice to have for a college, but it is a have to have for a college. It is so important that places like Wheaton College maintain its focus on creating strong and viable athletic programs that are an important part of the campus community. And I think there's many reasons we could talk about why that's important, but three key reasons come to mind for me. And I think all of the inductees tonight helped to remind me of these three different things. Number one is that when I look at the current student population, and I know this is also represented in this group tonight, the true leaders on campus are represented by the athletes who are part of our community. And I mean that in the most sincere way, in the sense that they're leaders on the field, but they're also leaders off the field. They're leaders in the classroom, they're leaders in our organizations on campus, they're leaders in our community. We just prepared a video that's talking about the future and where we want to go for Wheaton College. And I don't think this was done intentionally, but I watched the video again recently, and almost every single student portrayed in that video is an athlete. And they're not pictured in the athletic environment, they're pictured in the labs, they're pictured in being social here on campus, being involved in things. There's one piece of the video that probably many people didn't notice, but there's one of our current women's soccer players, Megan Healy, shown on the field, and the next clip immediately cuts to her in the lab. And I don't think that was, I think it actually was by accident, but to me it reinforces the fact that on the field and off the field, our students are leaders. So number one is leadership. Number two is spirit and pride. You all labored here as student athletes, and I'm sure there were times where you felt like, I wish there were more people out to cheer us on. I wish that there would be more emphasis. Well, what I can tell you is that even among the students who aren't there on the sidelines, even among the students who aren't there to cheer you on, the biggest thing that college athletics does, and the thing that it does here at Wheaton, is it does create a sense of pride. I saw that last year when our Wheaton baseball team went to the College World Series. And yes, there wasn't 1,000 people on the sidelines rooting them on, but there were thousands of people, both here on campus and in the local Norton community, that were really excited and rallied to cheer them on as they went off to the World Series. So it's about creating that spirit and that pride. And the third thing about college athletics is visibility. When you think about all the things that we do on a campus, there's many ways for us to be visible, whether it's with the great research that faculty do, it's the accolades that our students win with fellowships and scholarships and things. But I always think about the fact that the one thing that is consistent day in and day out, every single day, there is something that Wheaton is visible for because of college athletics. Just watch the Google feed. Every single day, there's something out there about Wheaton College and the things that our student athletes are doing. So I want to thank everybody in this room, not just the inductees, but the people that are here to support them, the many friends and family members who've come out to celebrate this recognition tonight. I want to thank you for helping Wheaton College to make a difference through leadership, through spirit and pride, and through visibility. You truly are deserving of the recognition that you're going to receive tonight. And I'm privileged to once again be the first to say congratulations to our Hall of Fame inductees. Thank you for being here. It's my privilege to introduce the president of the Alumni Association, Jane Martin, to come up and to also offer her greetings. Jane Martin.
I need a booster chair here. Good evening, everybody. Can you hear me? Janet, you got to go away. Good evening, everyone, and welcome home, alums, family, and friends. My name is Jane Martin. I'm class of 1974, parent 11, and I'm the president of the Alumni Association. Like my colleague, the Philly fanatic, I am truly the Wheaton fanatic. I love all things blue and white, as you can tell. As you can tell from this finely honed body, I too am a Wheaton athlete. Okay, I was a Wheaton athlete back in the Pleistocene period. Field hockey was my game, and I started every single game from 1970 to 1974. I went on to become a marathon runner, a tennis player, and I still feebly attempt to manage the game of golf. But the one thing I know about sports is that it defines part of who you are. The pregame jitters, the narrowed sense of focus right before the competition begins, and then the calm and the resolve that comes as the game unfolds. I remember it. Whether one is 20 or 80, or somewhere in between, sports, competition, and the pursuit of excellence are part of one's muscle memory. Our teammates and coaches become extensions of our bodies, and we are better for being part of that team than we are as just one person. What we all share in this room this evening as athletes, whether old or young, no matter the date or decade of your graduation, is we all played for Wheaton. So from the 18,000 alumni who comprise the Alumni Association, I want to congratulate all of our past and present Yowell Hall of Fame recipients. Thank you for your loyalty to your teams, your coaches, and especially to this transformative place, Wheaton College. The excellence you have shown on the field and off the field, the court, the track, and the pool, make you Wheaton's best and brightest ambassadors. I hope you'll come back to Wheaton often. As members of the Alumni Association, I want to ask each of you a favor. When you take these beautiful awards home with you and you put them on your mantle or your shelf or even on your desk in your office, take every opportunity to tell your story and then tell the Wheaton story. If you're a high school or a college coach or a volunteer in youth athletics, always make sure that people know that you are and always will be a Wheaton Lion. You never know, you may have an impact on the next generation of Lions. Well done, my friends. You have much to be proud of, and we are so very proud of you. Thank you for being the best of Wheaton. Have a good time tonight.
All right, thank you very much, Jane. And just so you all know, we're rolling the dinners out, so everyone will get a dinner. I know, please feel free to eat as we are going through our process here tonight, so everyone will eat. So, welcome, everyone. It's a pleasure to have you here. My name's John Sutyak. I'm the Director of Athletics here at Wheaton, class of 2000. I paid the track team to do that. Thank you, ladies. Appreciate it. Before we get to the main reason we're here this evening, I do want to take some time and thank a number of individuals who helped make this evening possible and even really just athletics at Wheaton possible. 15 years ago, 2002, 15 years ago, a group of individuals came together here on campus. I might be the only one still working here, but that group came together to work on doing something like this, a Hall of Fame. The conversation began to bring people together, the intent being that this Hall of Fame would strengthen the connection between the student-athlete alums and the campus and provide a signature event from the college. It took a while, and in 2013 that finally happened, and I think as you can see tonight, this being our third, this really has become a signature event, and I want to thank you all for that. One individual that was on that committee besides myself is here tonight. His name is Scott Dietz, and I think we put him on the porch, and that's because he works at Babson College now. But he is wearing a royal blue tie that he never wore when he was here, so I appreciate you, Scott, going out and having your wife buy that for you. Thank you. As you can imagine, selecting a group of individuals to honor tonight is no small task. So many talented people in our alumni group, and I want to thank the committee that helped put this thing together. And I know some of them are here tonight. Most of them, all of them are here. So if you could at least pop up and wave so people know who you are. Elizabeth Atwood, class of 1980, right in front of me. Janet Kelly, class of 86, is also here. She stood up, yes. Marco Barbone, class of 09, who I think is still out waiting for some people to show up, so he was also on the committee. We can hold your applause till the end, by the way. It's probably easier that way, sorry. Emily Kablek, our women's lacrosse coach. John Hirsch in our advancement office. Kristen Martin in our athletic communications office. Barrett Roberts, our swimming and diving coach. And Patrick Summers, who's in our alum board of directors member and also the commissioner of the NUMAC. He is here tonight. Thank you, Patrick. All of your hard work and dedication to this process has been tremendous and provided us with so many opportunities to honor all these individuals tonight. I do want to welcome back 4 Hall of Fame members from our previous classes that are here tonight. From the class of 2013, Janet Kelly, class of 86, is here. Hello again, Janet. And Amber James from the class of 2004. And from the class of 2015, DeShonda Williams. And I know Del Malloy is supposed to be here. He was a 2015 member. I have not seen him yet tonight. There's a chair over here, so I'm sure we'll see him when he comes in. Finally, I want to thank a number of people in no particular order. Again, if you can hold your applause till the end, because there's a bunch of them, and I want to rattle through, but give them their due as well. Our caterers tonight from Aramark, headed by the catering director, Chris Vincent, and his team. I know they're working hard to make sure you guys are having a good experience with the food and the open bar. Ellen Kane, who is really the unsung hero of this campus, who does a lot of the video and technical support. She's been tremendous. Her team is back there as well, so I want to thank them. Our Assistant Vice President of Communications, Mike Gresa, who is back in the corner running this webcast, and his team, Dave LaFerrier and Lindsay Kelkenberg, who put together the programs. I want to thank the members of our President's Council and some of our Board of Trustees members that are here tonight at Table 3, right in front of me, if you all want to come say hello at some point. Certainly a huge thank you, President Hanno. You've all heard from him already tonight, but him and his wife, Sue, have been tremendous supporters of Wheaton and our student athletes, and we can't thank you enough. And no department can be successful without a boss that is supportive in everything that we do. Our leader for the department is Kate McCaffrey. She's the Vice President of Student Affairs, and we're tremendously blessed to have her supporting us. This is someone who's been here for us quite a bit, and especially through the past few months, we've been through some pretty significant incidences. So we want to thank you, Kate, so much for your support and everything you do. Thank you. The logistics committee that put this together, I can't thank them enough. They consisted of members of our Department of Athletics, the President's Office, people from all over campus, alumni relations, Kristen Turcott in the President's Office, Courtney Shirtliff and Marco Barbone in the Alumni Office, John Hirsch from Advancement, Becky Pye from Advancing Conferences, Louise Batten and Kristen Martin from the Department of Athletics, I know Kaylin Smith and Judy Allen were greeting you all as you came in with the programs. I hope I'm not missing anyone, but thank you all so much for the last few months as we've looked to put this together and hopefully make this as seamless and as tremendous as an experience for everyone that's here. And every great athletic department has a great team, and at Wheaton, our team is everything. I want to thank our student athletes who came here tonight. Some of them are still here that served as our hosts. Most of them were from the track and field team. I know we wanted to have them have the opportunity to meet some of our track student athletes, our alums that are here to be honored tonight. You all that were here are tremendous representatives of Wheaton, and we can't thank you very much. We can't thank you enough, I'm sorry. It's early, it's early. I want to acknowledge our athletic staff that are all here. I get the privilege to watch these individuals every day. I get to see everything they do. It may seem simple what we do, and I know it's not the be-all and end-all of life, but I assure you that the time and effort that everyone in our department puts together, the personal sacrifices that they made every day for our student athletes to try and give them a tremendous experience is off the charts. It's unbelievable. Our administrators who consistently put in the time to work with our varsity club and intramural student athletes and coaches, and our colleagues on and off campus to make sure our experience for our student athletes are good and that they're able to succeed on and off the playing surfaces. Our athletic communications office who work to promote our student athletes and teams locally and nationally. Our athletic trainers who are consistently on the front lines working to keep our student athletes safe and rehab them back to health. And our coaches who put their heart and soul into their programs they are put in charge of. All these individuals in our department do great work on a daily basis. They forfeit days off, they work late in the evenings, and at odd times to make sure we have strong teams that represent all of you. On behalf of all of us in this room and our nearly 400 student athletes, I want to make sure I publicly thank our Department of Athletics. I can't thank you enough. I know all of us can as well. Thank you. With that said, there is one staff member who is not with us here this evening, and I know many of us here were shocked and saddened at the loss of our men's soccer coach, Matt Cushing, this past August. Matt served on the Hall of Fame selection committee for the first two rotations in 2013 and 2015, and he was set to play a part in the logistics of this event here this year. Words really can't do justice to what Matt has meant to all of us in this department. Yep, his coaching record is remarkable. He did win over 70% of his games as a soccer and lacrosse coach, and he took our teams to 8 NCAA tournaments and won 8 NUMAC championships and over 300 games in his career. But his mentorship to his players, his colleagues here at Wheaton, are what he will be remembered for most, and it's what we've also missed the most these past few months. In our own way, we've all worked to say goodbye to Matt and pay our respects. We have a number of men's soccer alums that are here this evening. Our hearts are with you all. They're also with all of our staff that are here and work with him on a daily basis, and especially Matt's family and friends who aren't here tonight. It is with that I'd like to ask that we take a moment of silence to honor Matt for his contributions in working to make this place as best as humanly possible. Thank you. For those of you that are on campus tomorrow, we'll be having a get-together on Key Field at 11 a.m. near the team bench. It was an event that we put together with our alums, and I know many of them that are here tonight will be here tomorrow and others coming in, but any and all are invited, and it'll be very informal, nothing really over the top, but just taking an opportunity to remember Matt and all the great stories that I'm sure we all have, and I'm sure there'll be some good ones. See some of the guys out there with smirks on their faces, so I look forward to that. Now the moment we are all waiting for, the induction of the Wheaton College Athletics Yowell Hall of Fame class of 2017. I can't really see the PowerPoint, so hopefully it works. Our first inductee is from the class of 1987, Lisa Barron-Benzer. And Lisa, as I've learned, and I never really got to meet Lisa until the last few months, and it's this first time I've seen her, it's all been on email, but I learned that Del Malloy was her track coach in high school. And Del Malloy's a name that, if you don't know, he's in our Hall of Fame. He was a very successful women's basketball coach here, but also coached softball and cross country. And apparently he left Lisa's high school to come to Wheaton to coach, and that is what prompted Lisa to come to Wheaton. So Del did a lot of great things at Wheaton. Apparently the first great thing he did was before he even stepped foot on this campus. Lisa made an immediate impact here at Wheaton. She was the USTFCCA All New England her first year and her sophomore years, and she earned an invite to the NCAA Cross Country Championships as a sophomore. It was her senior year where all our hard work would pay off. Just the 5th All-American in Wheaton College history. And for all these efforts, Lisa was a 2-time Wheaton College Athlete of the Year winner here at Wheaton. So ladies and gentlemen, it is with an honor to welcome back to campus for the first time in a while to present to you the Hall of Fame inductee from the class of 1987, Lisa Barron-Benzer.
Good evening. It's my pleasure to be here with you tonight, and it's such an honor to be inducted into this Hall of Fame. I humbly stand before you this evening to accept this distinct privilege of being inducted into the Wheaton's Hall of Fame. I'm truly honored to be named in the company of such incredible athletes that have come from Wheaton. You know, when I look around Wheaton's campus, it's truly an impressive sight. Much has changed in the 30 years that I've been here, walking on the grounds of Wheaton College, and many great athletes have sprung from this amazing institution. I want to thank you, my family members and friends, for coming, especially Vane Okola and his wife Marcia from Deer Isle, Maine, and my brother from Wellesley, Mass, and my wonderful family, my sister Natalie, my mom and dad, and my sister Julie, and my husband. It means so much for your support. God has blessed me with the gift of having great people in my life. People who have loved me and supported me through good and bad times. God is so present in our lives, and it is ever so obvious in the good people that I have been around. I grew up in Bristol, Rhode Island, with my mother Priscilla, my father Adam, and my siblings, Julie, Joseph, and Natalie. When I was in 8th grade, my father used to take me on runs with him every now and again. And I really enjoyed the company, his company. And he would take me on a run and we would talk. And as he would get more involved in the running, so would I. And it eventually brought a real appreciation for the sport. My father must have seen something in me, because a few weeks before entering high school, I found out that he had signed me up for the cross-country team. And preseason training was just around the corner. I remember being so nervous about going to high school and thinking to myself, you mean I have to go to high school 2 weeks earlier than everyone else and run with people I don't know? Well, from the very first day, I remember feeling right at home as I encountered my future coach, Mr. Del Malloy. His warm, welcoming, and supportive demeanor made even the shyest of teens feel at home. As an athlete, running for Del Malloy as your coach was a very special feeling. Del had a way of making you feel like you were the only athlete on his team. He provided each one of his athletes with unfailing support, and he often joked with us, which heightened the spirit of his athletes. Don't get me wrong, Del trained us hard. He shaped our team without us even realizing it. We learned to run hard, to care about our teammates, and learn many lessons along the way. I'll never forget the time Mr. Malloy had called for a LSD run. If you are a long-distance runner, you know that that means long, slow distance. Del had a way of sweetening up the pot as to keep us very motivated. Before we ran that morning, Del had informed us that he bought orange juice and donuts for the team. Now, when you're in high school, that means a lot. When I realized that a mere 8 miles was between me and the orange juice and donuts, I went much faster in my run, and so did a few more of us. We anxiously went to the kitchen where the donuts and the cold orange juice awaited. We decided that it wouldn't be that bad if we helped ourselves to the delectable nibbles in front of us. When the rest of the team came in from the run, we felt a pang of guilt run through our veins as we heard Del Malloy calling for a team meeting. The guilty parties looked at one another and vowed never to disappoint our coach the way we did that day. Del never got mad at us. He had a way of giving us the benefit of the doubt, and just knowing that we disappointed him made us feel like we would never do that again. That was a lesson learned. Those were the lessons that we were taught in high school cross country. You know, after high school, I really didn't know what I wanted to do with my life. I wasn't sure where I wanted to go to college. Mr. Malloy was not only a coach, but he became a very good family friend. Del was moving on from Bayview Academy to become the cross-country coach here at Wheaton College, which was a great opportunity for him. Del began to talk to me about Wheaton, and of course, the conversation began by telling me how great the food was. I hadn't heard of Wheaton College before, but my parents and I decided to take a look, and I really loved the campus, and I felt right at home. One thing I loved most about Wheaton, besides the food, was the small, quaint campus. I got to know my new teammates, the other students, my professors, and I began sensing that Wheaton was a good fit for me. When I was younger, I thought about becoming an artist, and so I had set my sights on becoming a studio art major. And it was through this pursuit that I encountered Väinö Kola, a gentle Scandinavian man who had a passion for art and a scrutinous eye for artistic detail and talent. In the studio, we talked about running, while Väinö would make slight suggestions for improving my artistic composition. As I mentioned, Wheaton was a very quaint campus, so it afforded us the opportunity to know our professors. I really liked Väinö from the start. He had a frank way of speaking, which I really appreciated about him. At one point, Väinö started to inquire about our cross-country races, and to my surprise, he began attending many of our Saturday morning races on campus. I can still remember Väinö cheering for us, every one of us, as he rode his bike through Wheaton's campus. It was on one occasion that Väinö and I were talking in the studio, and he mentioned to me something that really struck. He said, "You know, Lisa, the only way you will become one of the best is to run under 18 minutes. For me, Väinö's advice was surreal. I truly had not thought about setting goals for myself. I always ran hard, but I thought to myself, was I running smart? With a set goal and an ambition. As I contemplated Väinö's words, I realized that I fell short of setting personal goals for myself in practice and in the race. I began tweaking my workouts so that I would run harder while increasing the amount of time that I could endure the pain. I really owe this turnaround in my running career to Väinö Kola, whose words resonate with me today. Our daughter Libby, who is a senior at St. Mary's Academy in Lancaster, New York, is now running cross country and is ranked 6th in New York for Catholic school states. I have shared Libby this story with Väinö many times, and I do not think I have ever told Väinö about the impact his wise words had on my running career. And I want to thank you this evening, Väinö. Thank you. When it comes to being an athlete and a successful athlete, it is truly about surrounding yourself with those people who believe in you, who push you, loving people who God puts in your life, who place their confidence in you and help you realize that there is more untapped potential inside each and every one of us. I have had that experience, and it is because of these people whom I have mentioned tonight that I am here before you. Thank you.
Thank you, Lisa. We move on to the men's basketball portion of our show today. And we have two individuals from the class of 1993, and we'll obviously be inducting them individually. But I think anyone that, at least from my era of Wheaton, before kind of the men's program has become what it is now, there used to be three names on that banner in the gym. There's 3,000-point banners. All three of them are in the room. Marla Williams over there, and the next two individuals. And there were these kind of mythical people, and there were always two of them that were seen to be tied at the hip, and they were both in the class of 1993. And apparently you guys are a pretty good recruiting class, because there's some picture up there with you guys in suits, walking with your jackets. Like, that's like big-time stuff, so I don't know what Roy was doing, but pretty impressive. Will Hawkins is a third all-time leading scorer here at Wheaton College, and he's the first Wheaton College man basketball player to be named All-New England. He helped to lead Wheaton to its first ever postseason tournament appearance in 1993 in the ECAC tournament, although I hear there are legendary stories of Roy Dow making threatening calls to the NCAA selection committee because you guys did not get selected. Is that true, Roy? No? Okay, great. Glad we could clear that up. To this day, Will's a school record holder for field goals in a career, points in a season, and field goals made in a season. He's third in career points, fourth in three-point field goal percentage, and ninth in rebounds, and he holds 3 of the top 10 single-game point totals in Wheaton history. He was a co-senior athlete award winner in 1993. I'll let you guess who the other individual was in that co-senior athlete award winner. And it's been quite a while since I think Will's been back on campus. This is the first time that I've actually gotten to meet him in person. I know he's extremely happy to be here, to bring his family here. I think in talking to you originally, Will, you'd mentioned that you're able to bring your son, and you're allowed to try and prove to him that you actually were a pretty good player, right? I hope, Brandon, that you can recognize that he wasn't a good player. He was a great player. So I'd like to introduce to you all Yowell Hall of Fame inductee from the class of 1993, Will Hawkins.
Thanks, John. I'm excited to be here and very happy to be honored tonight amongst you. I want to first start by saying to my lovely wife of 17 years, thank you for being here. I'm excited for you guys to see this. I talk about it all the time in the backyard shooting. Talked about it over the years so much that my son's ears have just been drubbed with me just talking and talking. It's great to have it here validated, so I appreciate that. My daughter Ella as well, my 9-year-old daughter Ella is here too, and I love you to pieces, and I'm always glad to make you proud as well. It's great to be back, and I'm extremely excited, like I said, to be here, to be honored in front of the Wheaton community. And I'd like to start by thanking and acknowledging a few folks who have in some way supported me and assisted and challenged me throughout the years to be the player and the person that I grew to be. The coaches in my life at the time, I have to start with my brother Jay, who would tell anyone listening that he taught me the game of basketball. Taught me the game of basketball on the courts in Newark, New Jersey. We were doing suicides, shooting free throws. Anytime we had an opportunity to play, we got out and did what we can do to play the game. Coach John Carroll's here today. He's the coach at Northville Mount Hermon, and I thank you. You're a brother today still. and I appreciate you coming out tonight. Fernando, Tony Santos, Bobby Hurley, Coach Rodell. Hey, listen, you were the hardest and the most critical, yet caring, and the biggest advocate for your players that I've ever had coach me. And as a young man, you can't appreciate that, right? You're just like, who is this guy? Who is this madman who's kicking balls and throwing stuff around and acting like a nut at times just to get us going? That was Rodell. A few technicals here and there, a few jackets off and thrown everywhere. But I have to tell you now, again, looking back, that I thoroughly appreciate the time and your coaching me in that chapter of my life. Thank you. The scary thing is, as much as you work referees, and as much as you worked and talked and yapped at us, I coach now. I coach my son. I'm the same way. I picked up all those traits. I'm walking up and down the line. I'm yapping, giving him the business. I said, oh, my God, I'm just like Roy Dow. It's like scary. Good stuff, Coach Ron. And thanks for coming today. Sully, of course. Hey, listen, man, we walked on the campus. You see the picture over there. We doing a Sports Illustrated spread, what we thought was, brochures. we were soliciting. We were trying to get more young men on campus at the time. And we got stories for days, but I'm honored to share this night with you. Wouldn't be the same without you. I mean, 1-2 punch, it's a 1-2 punch all around, but I appreciate. I wouldn't want the honor without you. To Marlon, who came from NMH as well. Good guy still to the day. Appreciate it. You were on that banner. You'll be here one day, no doubt. Great guy. Dave Miller, Abel, King, Candy, Keith, Muggs, thanks for coming out. Sabo, Batty, Zatorsky, Foster, these are some of the older names that come up. Josh, Terry Salonetti, Napier, where are you? It was great to see you walk through the door. Napier, thanks for seeing you come through the door. So many more. Greg Still, Gail Olson, the original trainer with us years and years ago. And of course, Chad Yowell, the AD, who talked to me a lot when I first came to campus with my transition, and was just a great advocate for the sport, but also a great mentor in a lot of ways. Easygoing spirit, even keel, great guy. Again, I'm truly grateful for this honor and my time here on campus, and just to learn that when I got the call, I realized that my playing days they go back 25 plus years. 25 plus years. I'm thinking, wow, where did the time go? But it made me aware, and so I immediately went into sort of a total recall and started thinking about all of the crazy practices, the long practices that we had. Winter break on campus when there was no one with us but us on campus, working out and doing things. Dimple diving. Great times at 11 hour dimple diving, right? For the basketball guys, you know, coming back from games, singing Bang Bang Lulu. Singing Jeffrey Banks, who was a trainer, loved the guy. We were singing songs to him. All those things we would do. We'd walk across the campus and we'd be singing songs. We'd be so happy that we were winning and making a difference, you know, on the campus athletically. These are things that all came up when I got the call from John. Also, the infamous NYU game, Colby battles. Being snubbed in 1993 for the NCAAs was something I remember. We were sitting over in the student center and just watching and feeling like, you know what, at first, one of the first times, but many times where I really had an opportunity to realize that despite hard work, sometimes things don't go your way. Life's not fair. Just not fair. We were a hot team. We played very well. We deserved to be there. I'm not biased about it. Not a little biased. We deserve to be there. And I go back to what I said about Coach Dow, that advocate. You hear the passion and the love for the guys who were playing for him. He wanted to get through the TV. Well, the guy who called wanted to get through the TV. to say these boys work their butts off in this small school, small but great school in North Massachusetts, and you might not have heard of them, but they're coming. They deserve to be there. It's a great time. I can go on and on and on, like I said, talking about me, talking about all the accolades and all the things, but I won't. I certainly would like to take a moment to say that I'd like to dedicate this to my parents, both of my parents. My dad, who could not make it tonight. He's retired in Augusta, Georgia, and I wish he came. But he always challenged me to be comfortable in my skin. Stand tall, regardless of where I go. Regardless of where I go. Be proud to be a Hawkins man. Still to the day, at 82, we have conversations. And he's saying, listen, I think I had a conversation with him a couple of years ago, and I told him, I said, God, the guy coming around cutting the grass, and he's not doing it right. He said, whoa, 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 wait. Something wrong with your legs? Are you getting too cute to cut grass now? I mean, is that the Hawkins IRA? What's wrong with you? Still that guy who says, you know what? Stay humble and remember the things that your mother and I taught you. And life lessons will run smooth. Love your pops. Secondly, and certainly not least, to my mother. Who passed away 9 years ago, battling cancer. And she was the biggest cheerleader. Coach Dowell, all these guys can tell you, the biggest cheerleader in the world for me. Us, all the kids, big advocate. Loved us to death. Couldn't do no wrong. My son needs the ball. He's not getting the ball enough. Come on, coach, he needs to shoot. Come on, get him in. He's been sitting too long. She would be extremely proud. She is proud because she's looking down. She's proud. But she was big on this one phrase that's lasting, still with me today, and something that I say to my kids all the time. And it's quite simply, finish what you start. Finish what you start. I wouldn't care if it was a game of Uno. Don't walk away on a bad hand. Finish what you start, son. I remember one time I was part of the church choir, and I was about 13, and I had a growth spurt. Must have grew about 5 inches, and the road was getting tiny, and I was like, oh, man, Mom, can I get out of this? No, we're going to finish this year. You're going to finish this choir this year. Finish what you started. It's something that I say to my kids today, something I impart on them. Start a team, finish. Start Girl Scouts, finish. Whatever you do and you start on it, I want you to finish. I appreciate that phrase now, and like I said, I always will. My mom, who was my biggest advocate, again, would be standing here, clapping, enjoying this moment. And like I said, I know she's here, excuse me. I can feel her spirit. And I will say to you again, I'm forever grateful for her for that. And Wheaton, thanks again so much for this honor and an awesome finish to what I started over 25 years ago. Thank you.
Calling Chad Yowell even keel means you never sat next to him during a basketball game when he was yelling at referees. All right, the second part of that duo. That photo is unbelievable, isn't it? Are you dribbling a basketball, like trying to, what do you think, you're Duke? I've never seen Sully play in college, but if he was anything like he is when he comes back for alumni games, he's never seen a shot he didn't like. In fact, Marlo, I'm shocked. Which it probably isn't any big deal. Anyone can shoot those, but he is third all-time in the percentage of taking those shots, so he knew what he was doing. Among all of his stats that he had, he's second all-time in field goals made, third in steals, which I was shocked that he actually played defense, but he is third in steals. Sixth all-time in assists, seventh in free throw percentage. and of course, as mentioned, the co-senior athlete of the year in 1993. He's best known as our all-time leading scorer here at Wheaton, regardless of gender, 1,935 points. He comes back to campus often. He's a season ticket holder in Haas Athletic Center with his partner in crime, Kevin Collins. And after I present you with this award, Chris, the most thing I'm excited about is I will no longer be threatened by anonymous emails from Kevin Collins. Pleased to introduce to you all the Hall of Fame inductee from the class of 1993, Chris Sullivan.
Thank you all. I appreciate it so much having me here today. And I have to tell you, I am so impressed with the people that actually wrote the speeches. Study sent us an email, said, you got to write a speech. It's got to be so long, and you need to email it to me. And I was like, okay. And I sat down like 3 or 4 times to write a speech. And I finished one. I was like, that's going to be good. That's going to be good. And I put it aside, and I'd come back, and I'd look at it again, and I'd read it. And I was like, what a dope. I can't say this stuff. So I'm coming up here, and I'm just going to go free form for the rest of the night. And I'll tell you, it's very hard going after Will. Will is, he's so comfortable in his skin. His mom and dad were great people, and they did a heck of a job raising him. But more importantly, it's really hard to go after Will because he stole everything I was going to say. Literally everything. I mean, dimple diving, Roy throwing jackets and shoes. You didn't say shoes, he threw shoes. I do want to clarify a few things, though. Your mom saying, get Will the ball more. Physically not possible. If you were in the game, the ball was going to you. And that was a great coaching move because that's the way we were going to win our games. Playing with Will really on a basketball court is the biggest thrill I've ever had. It made my life so much easier. You guys, most of the people here, I'm guessing, there's probably a handful of people never saw Will play. You might have read some things. It doesn't do it justice. All right? And as a freshman, think about this. As a freshman, he's probably 17, 18 years old. He was 9th in the country in scoring as a freshman. And our team was awful. We were like, I think we were 4-22. So every team that came in to play against us, they were stopping Will. They said, it was Will and 10 stiffs. And I was one of the stiffs out there. All right? Will made it easier for the rest of us. You know, eventually Roy started to do his job and started to recruit some people. So we got the Super 7 that came in the class of 1995. Kevin and Craig Keefe and Marlowe, and great class there. And we became a little bit of a different squad then. I think a lot of us that were with Will learned from Will. We progressed. We got stronger. We got a little bit more skilled. Got some great coaching. But people still, the teams we played still had to plan for Will and left us the rest to do the things that were easy to do because if 3 guys are guarding Will, they can't guard the rest of us. So it's easy for us to shoot. As Suddy said, I got a lot of open shots. And that just made it easy for me to do. I do want to say a few things, and I kind of touched on it there, but Brandon and Ella, I know he talks a lot. I know for a fact he does. He will never, ever be able to justify how good he was. He could have played a lot of different places, and we're just fortunate, all of us are fortunate, but the basketball team, so fortunate to have him with us, made our lives easier, and he was a pleasure to play with. Never worked hard, never stopped working hard. He got better every year, made us all better every year we came back. Believe me, Brandon, I see you looking at him. I'm telling you. He's better than he tells you he is. The other thing I want to build off a little bit is I literally would not be at Wheaton College today or in 1989 when I stepped foot on campus if it wasn't for Roy Dow. He is a mentor, a friend. I think he's probably his best skill as a coach is probably his talent evaluation, because he is literally the only coach in America that sent me a recruiting letter. So unfortunately, it was to go to Colby, and then he got the head job here at Wheaton, and I didn't get into Colby, so I ended up coming down to Wheaton. And I played for Roy for 4 years, four of the best years from an athletic perspective of my life. Roy, you know, he made me a better basketball player. There's no doubt about that. But the things that Roy taught me about being a teammate, being a person, being an adult, there's things that you don't get from a lot of coaches. And like Will, I coach today a lot. I coach my 2 sons are here today. I coach their teams. And I don't try and get them to work on their form and well, maybe a little bit. But I really try and emphasize with the kids that I coach today the emphasis about being a good teammate. And these are things that Roy taught me when I was not really, I didn't listen a whole lot my first 2 years, but eventually it got into me. I so appreciate Roy being here today. He coaches basketball now on the West Coast. He landed at Logan today at 1 o'clock. And I believe his flight's at 9:50 tonight to go home. And there's zero chance he's going to get here unless we have a state trooper that can get him a blue light escort up the road. But he's in the middle, his season just started. And for him to take the time out and come out here and surprise us with a visit, it means the world to me. I promise I'm going to end quicker. I'm trying to do this as quick as I can. A couple other people I just want to acknowledge. Kevin Collins is out there somewhere. He's a class of 1995. Best friend in the world. He was a teammate of mine for 2 years here. Things that I started with him, getting to know Kevin here on campus, we've just kind of blossomed a little bit. Our friendship is a lot more special now. We spend anywhere between 4 and 5 nights together a week. Probably a little bit more than our wives would like us to do, but our families are very tight, and he means the world to me. And I don't know, Muggs doesn't have the basketball stats. I don't know that he'll ever be inducted into the Athletic Hall of Fame, Muggs. I don't. It may happen, but when Wheaton does a Person Hall of Fame, if you guys are around afterwards, I'll tell you the stories about Kevin and his wife and the stuff that they've been through in the last 10 years or so. I mean, battling cancer. Muggs donated his liver to his father. Amazing story. I can't even get into it now. Donated his liver to his father. His father's doing great now. He's doing awesome now. Literally saved his life. They had a baby born that was in the NICU for, I don't know, Muggs, a month, whatever it was. They fought through that. Muggs he's a Massachusetts State Trooper, and he was in Watertown during the Boston Marathon. He was there, and believe it or not, I had all the information before all of you because I was getting text messages. He said there's something about a boat in Watertown. I was like, a boat? What? But I knew what was going on, but Muggs was out there and literally laying his life on the line. And that's something about Wheaton that you won't see at something like this. It's the type of people that Wheaton produces, and I think Muggs is just a great example of that. Lastly, I got 2 more, sorry, 3 more. My mom, when I told you I wasn't recruited in high school at all. I was a scrub on my high school team. I had 1 good game literally in my high school career where I got loose a little bit, made a few jumpers. I got a letter from Roy to go play college basketball, and I said, Ma, I think I want to go to Wheaton College. And she looked it up, she says, Wheaton College to play basketball? I'm like, sure, I'll give it a shot. And Wheaton was, I think at that time, my brother went to the University of North Carolina, my sister went to the University of Rhode Island. Wheaton was more, the tuition was more than both of theirs combined. And she said, she didn't bat an eye. She said, if that's going to make you happy and you want to go to Wheaton for that amount of money to play basketball, give it a shot. And it was the best decision I ever made, and I thank her. I never have thanked her, actually, but I do want to thank her for Mom, officially, thank you very much, Mom. And for the record, I graduated with no debt because she took care of that, so even more thank you. I appreciate that. To my 2 sons, they both are here today. Braden is a sophomore in high school. Caden is a 5th grader, 10 years old. I coach both their basketball teams. So they listen to me at home. They listen to me about school. They listen to me at basketball. Actually, truth be told, they stopped listening to me. But tonight I have a microphone, and I know they don't have their phones, so they have to listen to me now. Some of the things that I wanted to, that we talk about all the time with the kids that I coach, and particularly these 2, the importance of being a good teammate. And that stuff, everything that I learned here at Wheaton, from Roy, from my teammates, from Will and Marlo and Kevin and Craig and everybody else that we played with. Being a good teammate, guys, you guys know this by now, it's not about scoring the most points or getting the most rebounds. It's about bringing it every day to practice and working hard and being that guy that helps someone up off the floor and setting a good example for the rest of the team, respecting your opponents, respecting your coaches, respecting your teammates at all times. You guys are learning that. I know you will. I know you'll continue. You make me proud every day. Hopefully, the one thing I really want you guys to do, I don't want you, if you don't score another point in your basketball career, that's fine. I hope you get an opportunity to be part of a team like I was in 1993, 92, 93. That group of guys is very special to me. They always will be. Braden does have a pretty unique group that he plays with right now. They're a pretty close-knit group. I hope they get to experience it, and you really build lifelong friends. Lastly, with coaching my two sons so much, I'm going to guess but they both play basketball year-round. They play other sports, well, Caden does now, but they play basketball year-round, and I'm going to guess that last year, calendar year, they probably played and I coached in probably 100 basketball games between AAU, spring, fall, summer league, travel, metro, and right there all the time is my wife, Cheryl. She tolerates it. First, she loves watching the boys play. I don't think she loves watching me coach. I think every once in a while I get someone's telling them to stop or whatever, but she sits through the AAU season when we might be down the road at Mplex or Mass Premier in a stinky gym for 7 games in a weekend. And she might want to be out at the beach, just relaxing somewhere, hanging with friends. We've missed family events, and this is youth basketball. But it's important to the kids. It's important to me. Cheryl does it, and I think, boys, for my message to you is just appreciate that. Acknowledge that from your mother. She puts up with the 3 of us, so make sure you give her a hug sometime. Tell her you love her after one of the games. My brother Sean is here today from North Carolina. My sister came down from New Hampshire. My nephew Tace is here today. I don't think Tace and Sean, have you ever been on this campus? Maybe not. Once. Sean only seen me play 2 games in my college career. It was in D.C. though, Will, so that was fun. We had a great night in D.C. though. We went out times. But I want to thank them coming tonight. You being here today just tells me you know how much the community at Wheaton and how my experience at Wheaton, how important it was to me, and I truly do appreciate you being here today. I know sacrifices are tough to make, and everybody being here today to support me, including guys who I became friends with in the last couple of years, never even saw me play, probably don't even believe that I played here. They have to believe it now. Actually, they're probably saying that's not Sully with all the hair right there. So, but I do appreciate it. I'm so honored, and I have an immense amount of pride for being part of the Hall of Fame. I appreciate the committee for all the time and effort they put into it. To Suddy, I appreciate your efforts in keeping the program and the athletic department thriving like it is. It's coming back on campus or seeing things on the social media out there about people winning national championships and everything else. It's impressive, and just to be mentioned in that breath is, I tell you, it's just so proud. I have an immense amount of pride that I can't put into words, really. But thank you. I appreciate it all. Enjoy the rest of the night.
So our next inductee, and by the way, Roy, thank you for coming. Roy is running out to catch his flight. Hopefully he's not going to miss that. So, but it was great that you could be here, Roy. Thank you. Our next inductee is not here this evening. So her name is Shamira Daniels. She was a member of our even though she's not here. Shamira was a 4-time NCAA champion and a 14-time NCAA All-American during the dominating run of success our women's track and field team had, and we will get into that very soon. She was the first ever NUMAC Rookie of the Year in 1999, and she would end up earning U.S. Track and Field Coaches Association honors as the Indoor Track Athlete of the Year in 2002. In her career, she claimed 3 individual national championships, and that 4th was as a member of the 2001 Outdoor 4x100 meter relay team. In addition, of her 14 All-American honors, 13 of them were is Shamira Daniels. So Shamira was one of many student athletes who helped put together what is by far one of the most dominating runs in track and field history. Last 2 years ago at our last Hall of Fame induction, we inducted the 1999 women's track and field team. That team won our first ever national championship. Showed a video of Shonda Williams chasing people down so that we could finish second in the relay, and we won. Everyone was crying. Like, it was great. But that team really set the standard. Now, they didn't win the national championship in the outdoor season that year, but the next year they came back, new crop of recruits, and won the national championship again indoors. And then somehow didn't win it out in outdoors, but that's neither here nor there, because then in the next 3 years, they would go on to win the national championship both indoors and outdoors, 2001, 2002, and 2003. We're taking donations. The board's up here, I'm here, we're here all night, so. But yes, without an outdoor track. Paul Souza, our head coach, put together a large depth of talent. Yes, we had women winning national championships and All-Americans, but we also had other women who were there pushing them every single day. Some of those women would be all New Mac performers, all New England performers. Some of them were just there every day, literally working just as hard to make sure everyone was putting in the work to make them as great as they could be. Over the 4 seasons, Wheaton student athletes would earn 50 All-American honors in indoor track and field and 64 Dee Dee Williams in 2000, Shamira Daniels in 2002, and Amber James in 2002 during the outdoor season. 2 women would earn the distinction of being the Athlete of the Year by our conference, the NUMAC, Dee Dee Williams and Tennille Johnson. And 2 other women would be Rookies of the Year in the league, Tessa Donahue and Aspen James. Paul Souza was named the NUMAC and U.S. Track and Field Coaches New England Coach of the Year 4 times. And in 2002, he would be named the National Coach of the Year. Tonight, we welcome back a number of these women from our national championship teams. And before we introduce all of them, I'm going to call upon our current head coach and a member of the class of 2004 and on most of those teams, Kim Spence.
On behalf of my teammates, I want to take this time to thank our amazing coaching staff during those years. For those of us in this room who were lucky enough to call Paul Souza coach, we had an unbelievable ride. As you know, Coach Souza led these teams to do what no other D3 coach or program has done in the history of our sport. Coach knew exactly how to make each and every one of us tick, whether we liked it or not. And he made us believe that we were invincible. As a team, he made us believe that we could never lose. So I would like to thank Paul Souza, Al Bashan, Paul Carr, Richard Curry, Tasha Downing, Jeff Robbins. You are truly our Hall of Famers, and thank you.
Oh, and Paul Souza right on cue. There's no way this wasn't fixed, was it? You got 5 minutes, Paul. 5, all right?
I got 4 teams. I think I get more than 5.
I'll give you 7, but the boss is right there. So. Let's close. We got it.
How you guys doing? I owe you an apology. Sorry about that. It feels really weird to be back here, for good reasons, but this seems like a lifetime ago. And I think back to when I applied for the job here at Wheaton. Only 2 people applied for the track coach's job, and they offered it to the other guy. And he turned it down because the money was terrible. So
I accepted the job, and I remember sitting down my first meeting, my first day, and they said to me, first of all, understand that you don't have a budget. Okay, your budget is the fundraising budgets from the other teams here. And so don't expect anything because the president of the college hates track and field. So, okay. So I said, and we had these horrible uniforms. And they said, you know, these are your uniforms. You don't have a budget, so don't expect, you know, any other uniforms. These are the uniforms that you're going to have. You know, the president of the college hates track and field. I said, oh, okay. I said, you'll never have the hammer throw, the pole vault, or the steeplechase, because those events are a liability. And so just don't even think about having them, because the president of the college hates track and field. So he said, you still want the job? And I said, yeah, I'll take it. So he led me to my office. I sat down. I had a phone, and that was it. And I said, okay, what am I going to do now? And what I found out was the president did not hate track and field. And in fact, loved track and field. And in fact, her mother was a track star in school. And as we moved through and started to build the program, years down the road, we had a hammer throw All-American, a pole vault All-American, and a steeplechase All-American. What was her name? Kim Spence, that's right. Kim Spence, the greatest range of an athlete that I've ever coached. Kim Spence, a lot of people don't know this, she was an All-American in the 400, she was an All-American in the 800, she was an All-American in the 1500, and she was an All-American in the 3,000-meter steeplechase, okay? Try that, Amber James. And of course, Amber James, you know, the greatest Division III track and field athlete ever, voted overwhelmingly by the coaches. Now, fun fact about that is Amber never won National Athlete of the Year. Okay? Amber never won Regional Athlete of the Year. Now, I thought all those coaches from Williams and MIT and those places, I thought those people were supposed to be smart. Okay? But when they voted the greatest athlete in the 25-year history of Division III track, Amber was the overwhelming winner. And so great honor for me to coach an athlete like her. When we built the track and field program, we started with nothing. And there were 3 individuals here who had 2 phenomenal qualities that allowed us to put this program together and have the success that we had. And I could not go on without recognizing them and their contributions, because without them, this would never have happened. And the first is Dean Sue Alexander. Who I just saw in the audience. I love you, Sue, but you already know that. Gail Burson, who is the Dean of Admissions, and Amy Markham, who is the Director of Admissions. And those 3 individuals had 2 qualities that you just don't see that often anymore. They had vision and conviction. And when I went to them and presented the idea of what I thought the track and field program could do, not just for the athletics department, but for the for the college, they not only understood the vision, but they facilitated moving it forward with conviction. And if you have vision and conviction, you can do anything. And these women here are the proof of that. So I thank you. I can't speak individually about every team and every individual because we'd be here all night. There's a couple of stories I want to share, and then we're going to induct these women into the Hall of Fame. but you're not supposed to have favorite teams, but there was one year, and we were trying to figure out what year it was, and I think was it 2002 that we came up with? That year we had the national record holder, Shamira Daniels, in the long jump. We had the national record holder, Shamira Daniels, in the triple jump. She was seated third in the 100-meter, and she was on our 4x1 relay team that to this day has run the fastest time in Division III history. So that's 10, 20, that's 36 points. Now, if you average it out for a national championship outdoors, you need to score about 65 points on average to win the national championship. So we're coming in, we have one athlete, 36 points. So it's the first day, and one of the first events is the women's 4x1 trials. Gun goes off, our first leg goes, hands the stick to Shamira. Shamira runs down the backstretch, and whack! There goes her hamstring. Severed. Okay? So she's done. That day, we had the worst first day we have ever had at a national championship meet. So we got back to the hotel, took the team out to dinner. After dinner, I called a team meeting, and before I came down for the meeting, there was a knock on my door, and it was the team captains. And they said, "Coach, we already know what you're going to say to us. We'd like to have our own meeting tonight." I said, "Fair enough." So I let them to their own devices. So the next morning, I got up for breakfast, I went downstairs, and I sat down, and you could have heard a pin drop. And I was looking at just stone-faced women, just so focused, and it was so intense that I couldn't stay at breakfast. I had to leave. So I got up and went back to my room, tried to unnerve myself. And then we went out to the meet that day, and one of the first events was the women's long jump, which we had Shamira Daniels, the national record holder, and we had a freshman, Tess Donahue. And Tess Donahue, they took 15 girls to the national championships in the long jump. Tess Donahue was seated 12th. So after the first 3 jumps, 9 athletes make it to the finals. Tess Donahue was in 9th place. After the second jump in the finals, Tess Donahue was in 8th place. No, I'm sorry, 6th place. And on the last jump of the finals, she jumped a foot farther than she's ever jumped, and she won the national championship as a freshman. And that started the ball rolling. Kerry Teamy, freshman, not seated in the pole vault, 3rd place. Kirsten Larson, freshman, not seated in the javelin, 3rd place. We went right down the line that next day. Go, please. They got every point back that we lost on the first day, and we won the national championship, I think, by 40 points. We just blew the field away. And that was because these women bought in to the vision, and that they worked every day with conviction. And I want all of you who are on the teams that are being inducted tonight, I want you to go back and think about those mornings when you would get up and come down to practice, sit outside Haas in the snow and sleeting rain, waiting for me to show up. Sorry about all those days I was late. I always felt really badly about that. No, seriously though, think about the hours and the time you put in. Think about how hard you worked, okay? Think about the commitment and the sacrifice and everything that you did and all that you put into your journey that has led you full circle here tonight, okay? From this night forward, every single one of you, for the rest of your lives, will be known as National Champion Hall of Famer. And that's not too shabby. On a personal note, and I don't want to put a damper on the evening. I was saddened and devastated by the news of the loss of my friend and colleague, Matt Cushing. And for those of you who knew Matt, you know the kind of person he was. And he was the kind of guy, if he walked in this room tonight, the room would light up. And then he'd make some kind of wisecrack and diffuse the, the place. And that's the kind of person he was. And he was a great person, a great coach, a great friend. And the world got a little sadder the day we lost him. So to all of you, I'd like to say congratulations to my girls. You'll always be that, my girls. And I want to thank Mr. President, Madam Dean, Athletic Director John, where is he? And thank you for giving me the time, and God bless you all. Have a great night. Oh, sure. Yeah.
Why don't you go on the other side of the table? He'll hand them to you.
All right, so where do you want me?
On the other side of the table.
Okay, I got you.
This part wasn't rehearsed, so please apologize. There were over 80 women that participated during this 4-year span, and tonight we'll introduce to you those that have made it back to celebrate the stretch of dominance as NCAA champions. Jessica Allegro. Emily Ald Ahern. Catherine Wallace Bright. Diana Burnell. Kirsten Larson Casavant. Jessica Jordan Casey. Christina Langevin Eagleson. Jennifer Sutyak Edmonds. Clearly the better Sutyak in the family in terms of athletics. Christina Zerbini Francis. Lindsay Whalen Gardner. Kate Getz. Megan Flaherty Hall. Indira Hernard. Amber James. Aspen James. Lillian Langeveld. Kendra Leith. Jessica Martin Maligan. Beth Castagno Marks. Stacy Bolcom Perry. Emily Doenji Szymanski. Kimberly Spence. Deshonda Dee Williams. There's going to be a big hug here, isn't there? Yeah. You made her cry. Oh, it's, you know. Joy Williams. Oli Wirtz. And last but not least, the head coach, Paul Souza. I'm not convinced that you didn't plan that, but I'm glad you're here. Did you get your jacket?
I gotta grab my jacket. And I'm gonna go sit over.
You got a seat over there. All right. The wrong one? All right. So our next inductee, there was a time when, if you probably the early 2000s, that if you would show up late to a women's soccer game here at Wheaton, there were a few things you could be sure of. One, Jessica Broomhead would be leaning up against the post board in goal because all the action was on the other side of the field. And I still remember a few times showing up at like 5 minutes into the game and it was already 3-0. And usually on those score sheets was Christy McHugh, who's here today supporting Tracy, and of course, Tracy Prohoda. She was a part of our first ever NCAA tournament team in 2000 and would be a part of 3 other NCAA teams, as the Lions would win the NUMAC championship every single year she was here. And they would advance to the NCAA quarterfinals in both her junior and senior years. Tracy has 7 school records, which is basically every single offensive record that we have here. All-time goals, all-time points, all-time assists, in addition to the single season records in all 3 of those categories as well, and scoring 4 goals in a single game, which she did 3 times. Most impressively, as those records stand up nationally as well. She's 8th all-time in NCAA Division III history in points, 14th all-time in assists, and 16th all-time in goals. In her 2001 season, she scored the 5th most points in Division III history. She scored the 5th most goals in Division III history and scored the 7th most points in the history of the NCAA. Ladies and gentlemen, it is with honor that we welcome back the Hall of Fame inductee from the class of 2004, Tracy Prohoda.
First tonight, I'd like to congratulate the other inductees. I'm humbled to be honored tonight with such an amazing group of people and athletes. Thank you to Wheaton and the athletic department for your organization and invitation tonight. I really came to Wheaton by chance. Wheaton was a school that my mother had suggested I should consider, and you know how high school students are. Ironically, several months later, Coach Reese started calling me as a recruit. I didn't know a lot about the school, but I knew that they had a strong academic reputation and the soccer team had been successful, so that was really enough for me. A naive choice turned out to be one of the best decisions of my life. Wheaton was a perfect fit for me academically, socially, and athletically. I feel very fortunate for all the support of my friends and family who are here tonight, each who have impacted my soccer world in a different way. One of my earliest memories of soccer was playing on the Bears in kindergarten and having my grandmother bring soccer ball lollipops that she had handmade for our whole team. I'm grateful to have my grandmother and family come all the way from New Jersey to be here tonight. Unfortunately, the only college game they ever saw me play was the last of my career, a loss in the Elite Eight, which still haunts me to this day. My soccer dynamics and Needham soccer family. A camp I grew up going to every year that was by far the highlight of my summer, and I have worked at most of my adult life. Not only did I learn from them on the field as a youth player at camp, but I have been lucky enough to continue to coach and learn from them on the sidelines at Needham High School. State champs 2015. My best friend Kristen from childhood, who was on the Hammers with me in 2nd grade, and her father Rich, who was one of our most loyal fans in college. He was also never afraid to clearly state his opinions to the refs on our behalf. My teammates and fellow captain, Christy Q, Broomhead, and Katie Tower Hall, those are real names, I assure you, and all the women and players who are now scattered across the country. Soccer is the definition of a team sport, and we had a great team. 4 straight NUMAC regular season and tournament titles, 4 straight NCAA berths, and a trip to the Sweet 16 and 2 Elite Eights. But nothing is more special to me than the memories of the preseason trips to Newport, the bus rides, the out-of-region trips, icing in the training room, team dinners in Chase, and the endless amounts of laughs. One of my favorite things we did at practice was a competition called Mass vs. Rock, when we were split into 2 teams, Massachusetts versus the rest of the country. We competed in anything from shooting games and scrimmages to relay races, and even once a season, flag football. We would keep a running tally of wins, and the competitions could become pretty intense. One year, one of my teammates, who will go unnamed, although she might be here tonight, wanted to win the flag football game so badly that she tied her flag, which was a penny, to her underwear so it could not get pulled out easily. The move led to a broken thumb for Rock that required surgery, but a win for Mass. I had found a group that hated to lose as much as me. Wheaton soccer was my home. We celebrated the victories and championships and cried together in defeat. I can honestly say I have gained friends and sisters for a lifetime. To my aspiring soccer stars, my niece and nephew, Jack and Kira, and the rest of my family who supported me on and off the field for so many years. My sister and my mom for putting up with weekends and vacations revolving around my soccer schedule, and my less than perky attitude when my team had lost or I thought I hadn't played well, which was often. The endless rides, the sandwiches, and cookies from me and my teammates for long bus rides home, and for my mom's stellar and motivational cheering. Her favorite line was, "Don't let him get it, Blue." Unfortunately, 2 of the most influential people in my soccer life cannot be here tonight. Coach Reese is no longer at Wheaton and is with his new team in Kentucky this weekend. I cannot thank Coach Reese enough for what he has done for me in the Wheaton women's soccer program. He can create an environment every day on the field where we learn to demand excellence from ourselves and each other, in turn making us better every time we stepped on the field. He believed in me when I didn't believe in myself. Surrounded by some of the best players in the country, day in and day out, there was no choice but to be successful. I came to Wheaton as an athlete and left as a soccer player. My dad, who is a huge Wheaton women's soccer fan, even when I wasn't playing anymore, and my biggest fan, probably to a fault. I can confidently say he did not miss one of my games from kindergarten through college. I inherited my love of sports, competitiveness, and work ethic from him, and for that, I am eternally grateful. Thank you.
Our next inductee is currently the head men's soccer coach at Roger Williams, so thank you for taking the time to be here tonight, James. I'm glad they could give you the time off. No, okay. That's not supposed to. This got messed up. See, this is the order it's supposed to go, and we had prearranged it. I apologize. It's getting to be a long night. Sousa got me all off kilter. James Greenslet, obviously you have the biggest entourage I've ever seen. James is a 2-sport star here at Wheaton, but his name was made on the soccer pitch. Sweet 16 in 2004. And despite playing the role of unsung hero in the backfield, James still managed to earn NUMAC Men's Soccer Player of the Year honors twice, 3 times being named an All-American and 3 times being named All-New England. None of this was enough, though. Nope. James decided he wanted to play basketball, too. And he did it well enough, in fact, that he had an integral role on back-to-back ECAC championship teams. Individually, he finds himself 7th all-time in three-point field goal percentage in a season. Ladies and gentlemen, what, you look surprised by that. Apparently you didn't shoot it that much, but you made some of them, so that's great. Ladies and gentlemen, it was with honor that I present to you the Hall of Fame inductee from the class of 2006, James Greensley.
Wheaton College has always felt like a home to me. From the moment I first stepped on campus, when my parents and I toured Wheaton as a prospective student, I could feel that this place was special. During my college years at Wheaton, I developed my closest friendships and learned a lot about myself as an athlete, student, and adult. During my years as a coach at Wheaton, I continued to develop in my passion for the game of soccer, learn my strengths and weaknesses, as well as watch the coach that I wanted to emulate. I have been and will continue to be indebted to all the people who make up the Wheaton community for all that I have learned and will continue to learn in my professional path. This is why this award tonight feels so important to me. I feel extremely lucky to be surrounded by such support from a community that I feel so proud to be a part of. Sorry. Although there are so many people and memories associated with my Wheaton experience, Matt Cushing had always been a constant for me. He was the reason why I found home on campus back here in 2002. He was the reason why I continued to return to Wheaton and continue to view it as my home as an assistant coach in 2 separate occasions. In his unique way, Matt always made others feel special and important to the team, whatever team that was. When he was recruiting me for soccer, he attended many of my high school games as well as several of my basketball games in high school. I had never experienced a coach that made such an effort and show it in ways that made me trust him so much. When I arrived on campus, the relationship changed from being recruited to being one of his players, which meant a lot of tough love. His expectations and passion for winning were contagious, and as players, his style motivated us to work harder because we did not want to disappoint Cush. Unfortunately for me, on my first day on campus, my body eventually told me I couldn't push it anymore, and I passed out on the Norton High track in the final lap of our 2-mile. So, despite that mishap, Cush showed me that I could always push my body to the edge, and that is what made me better. He brought the most out of me and my teammates every day in training and on game day by constantly challenging the physical and mental limits that we placed on ourselves. One game that I will always remember was in 2003 when our Wheaton team played MIT in the NCAA Elite Eight tournament. Cush was meticulous with his game day preparation and always gave us rules and guidelines of what we needed to do to beat our opponents. One rule of his was, on a corner kick, never take 2 touches on the top of the box when it bounces out to you. You should always shoot the ball in 1 touch. Well, in this particular game, a play happened off of a corner kick. The ball bounced out to one of my teammates, Cam Habib, and he took 2 touches. With that second touch, he scored the only goal of the game and beat MIT to send us to the Final Four of the NCAA tournament. I'll always remember that incredible moment Thanks, Cam. As well as Cush telling us after the game that I still hold dear to my heart that coaches aren't always right. One of the greatest qualities about Cush was his ability to see the best in people. As both a player and a coach, he would continually remind me that mistakes were made in life, and that it's not the mistake that people should be focused on, rather than the response to the mistake that makes it most important. He would often say, "Don't make the same mistake twice. Learn from your mistakes and become better." I continually use these lessons every day as a head soccer coach. Working with 18 to 22-year-old males in a college environment, you can only imagine how many mistakes are made on a daily basis. When figuring out my best response to their actions on their mistakes, I always remember the way Cush handles situations and how second chances are critical to the development of people. Cush most certainly had his quirks about him. His office desk had to be immaculately clean every day, so as his assistant, I would always leave, something behind like a Dunkin' Donuts coffee cup just to mess with him. He also had the worst short-term memory of all time. He couldn't remember task to task, but he could always remember soccer. He could always remember who scored in a 1998 preseason game against Eastern Connecticut. No idea why, but it was incredible. His Tommy Boy haircut should have been left back in the 1980s, but only he could have pulled it off to this day. Through all of his quirks and tough love, he was still the best coach I've ever played for and coached with. I believe the true depiction of Cush as a coach is not in his extensive number of championships, nor the incredible win-loss record, but rather in the coaching tree of people he was connected to that are currently coaching the great game of soccer. There are currently 10 collegiate head coaches, 20 collegiate assistant coaches, 10 high school coaches, and 8 high school assistant coaches that he developed as under his staff. These relationships represent the legendary person and coach that Cush was. So many people were inspired by him and wanted to learn from him. This coaching tree is his true legacy. When I received the news this past August that Cush had passed away, I felt the biggest part of home had passed as well. Coaching earlier this fall, here against Wheaton, and sitting on Cush's bench was one of the most difficult experiences I've ever had in college athletics. Despite how hard the past few months have been for me, I feel so grateful to have so many people who understand the important role that he played for me both on campus and in my life. Those people have helped me through this tough time by reminding one another how important Cush was to all of us in the Wheaton community. Through this most difficult season, Coach Mike Coven and his assistants Zach Grady, Corey Sindel, and Josh Souza have been truly inspirational. Cush would have been so proud of you guys for the work you did to keep the ship afloat and create such a positive atmosphere in such a trying time. Thank you for all that you have done in preserving the Wheaton College soccer community. Lastly, I would like to thank my parents and sister who have been there through everything, my fiancée Jen, who I love and who has been a rock for me, as well as her family, all of my teammates, both on and off the field and on the court, who helped create some of my best memories, the entire Wheaton staff, including athletic director John Setyak, who was a resident coordinator when I first got to Wheaton in the Meadows dorm. Look how far he's come. My basketball coach, Brian Walmsley, who I am forever grateful for giving me the opportunity to play ball my sophomore year. You always pushed me to be a better athlete, and you always made me better with your coaching and support. My athletic trainer, Greg Steele, who always lightens up a room, no matter the circumstance, if you know who he is. But most importantly, I want to thank you, Coach Cushing. I would not be here speaking if it wasn't for you. Thank you for all the life lessons you taught me, and I hope to continue to contribute to your coaching tree legacy in the future. I miss you, my friend. Thank you.
All right, our last inductee. Like her classmate Tracy Prahota, Jacqueline Demling was equally as dominant a force for Wheaton, although her work was done as a pitcher on the softball field. Over a 4-year stretch, Jacqueline put together one of the most impressive resumes in Division III history as a pitcher. She took the baton from our 2013 Hall of Fame inductee Kim Sears and kept Wheaton's stretch of softball success going. As a team, Jacqueline was a part of 4 straight NEWMAC championships and NCAA appearances, including 2 appearances in the Division III College World Series, where we finished 3rd in 2001 and 5th in 2004. She's a 2-time All-American, a 2-time NEWMAC Player of the Year, a NISCA Player of the Year, and earned 3 NFCA All-New England honors. In the history of Division III softball, she ranks 15th all-time in wins, innings pitched, and games played, while ranking 16th in complete games and 25th in strikeouts. She's a school record holder in strikeouts in a season, and ranks 2nd in games, shutouts, wins, innings pitched, ERA, and complete games. Ladies and gentlemen, it is with honor that I welcome to you, and Jacqueline was known for wearing sunglasses all the time on the mound, and I don't know if she brought them or not. I don't know where'd she go? Oh, there you are, Jacqueline. It's my honor to introduce to you our Hall of Fame inductee from the class of 2004, Jacqueline Demling.
So Study was serious when he wrote, I need to give a speech for 5 minutes about college softball and being at Wheaton, and I thought it was funny because I cannot sum up what I went through in 5 minutes. I should I didn't take that email seriously, apparently. So I'm going to freestyle, and we'll see where we go tonight. So first off, it's a privilege to be here. I will say today I am in sales, and I manage a pretty large book of business. And when the executives come in town, I have to give a presentation. And the first thing they always say, because there's a new executive, he says, go ahead, tell us about yourself. And I said, well, I played college softball. And then they laugh. And I'm like, there's nothing funny about it. Like, a screwball at 62 miles per hour isn't funny. So I always try to see if we could build in some softball event, get them to the batting cages, so I at least throw 50 miles per hour right now, so, to show them. Being at Wheaton was very special to me, being a college athlete. I will say the professors were very supportive. In particular, just a shout out to Professor Krebs and Professor Mathis, and then of course, Professor Goodman. They all definitely contributed to my success as a student at Wheaton, and they took a great interest in myself as a student athlete. Wheaton was a great community. I will say, I was so excited to see Amber James here tonight. I would show up early to softball practice inside Haas to watch Amber run, because I had to make an 8-minute mile. So I was like, if I could just get a little bit of Amber's technique, like I should come in at 8 minutes. So Amber taught me breathing technique of how to breathe through your nose and out your mouth, and I made my mile in 7 minutes and 34 seconds. So thank you, Amber. In terms of softball, I mean, when you ask me to think back, I think back of the first most vivid memory that comes to me is probably a tied game. I have runners on second and third, a full count, and a heavy hitter is up. And I'm going to throw a changeup. And I throw that changeup, and I strike her out, freezer cold. And that's how we got to the World Series the second time. And Brianna Shawa here, who was my college, she was our shortstop, my college roommate for 4 years. She was the toughest player to strike out in our division, and dealt with me and I was high maintenance. I'm worse now, but like, she played with me, she supported me, and we went to 2 Division III World Series together, and that was our goal. I remember like it was yesterday when we went to the first World Series. We didn't know any better. I was a freshman. You know, we thought naturally this happens, right? We're great. And I told her when we were at the first World Series, like, we will get here again my senior year, and I don't care what it takes. And it happened. So we achieved our goal. So thank you, Brianna, for being there for 4 years with me and dealing with my sunglasses, my high maintenance tendencies, and everyone else on the team who I refuse to talk to. So thank you very much. And I want to give a shout out to my graduating class, the Fab Five. Lori Hill, Amanda Dow-Allen, Brianna, and Carmela Ranieri. We played softball for 4 years together, and unfortunately, Rachel Powers was with us 3 years and had to manage us. So thank you, Rachel. I mean, it was just a strong privilege, and I wouldn't be where I'm at today without being part of Wheaton. I'll tell you that right now. I'm in sales, and every day is a 3-2 count, tied ball game, and I'm freaking throwing a change up, and that's it. So thank you very much.
Thank you, Jackie. That is our ceremony, and I want to, before we close it out, just one more round of applause for all 7 of our inductees and our 4 track and field teams. This is a loaded Hall of Fame class. This is what we want, so great job, committee, and congratulations to you all. If you're here on campus tomorrow, we have a number of events. It is Fall Fest weekend. This is kind of the kickoff to it. We have 3 huge NUMAC contests. Field hockey's starting off at 12 o'clock against Springfield. Women's soccer, senior day for women's soccer. Come support them against Mount Holyoke at 1. And men's soccer will be taking on Emerson at 2 o'clock. Our swimming and diving team with their second home meet of the season taking on Bentley at 1. And we'll be honoring our 2017 baseball team at halftime of the men's soccer game for their achievements in making the World Series last year. I want to thank you all for being here this evening. I hope you all enjoyed yourself. I hope you have fond memories of Wheaton. Welcome back to all of you that haven't been here in a while. Drive home safely. Thank you.